Good afternoon, everybody. Brittany Freakin' Chavez here again. I like to make videos about spirituality, space, and intention. Today I wanted to go live and do another vlog to talk to you guys about the awesome experience that I had last week at a natural spring where I went with my family. I went to go hold ceremony. I went to do a healing and a restoration ceremony. And this was such an impactful event that we actually manifested spirits that showed up on camera. And so what I wanted to do through this live stream was I wanted to talk to everybody about how to create sacred space for themselves, how to hold ceremony for themselves, and how to call in healing spirits or nature spirits into your own ceremony. Ooh, and I think I just got water all over me. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a couple pictures for you guys so that you can see the pictures of these spirits that manifested. Hang on one second. Let me share my screen. Okay, so here is the first picture. Whoa. Pardon me. And so after we had finished the healing ceremony, my husband took pictures of me on a bridge. And so here's me standing. I was trying to get some silly promo pictures. They didn't even turn out very well, but just something neat for my website. And as you can see over here, my husband took about 15 different pictures. And right here, you can see something that looks like a swirl. It's kind of far away from me in this picture. And then in the second picture that he took, this was right after this picture, you can see that the swirl has moved a lot closer to me. And so these, like I said, these were taken, this was like a little bridge, and like running across the bridge was the stream that we were all playing in and holding ceremony in. And you can very clearly see this swirling spirit. And man, isn't that just so cool? Isn't that so cool? Wow. So I can tell you guys that the energy was just so incredible at the spring. It was so incredible. It was so healing. It was so cleansing. It didn't feel heavy at all. It didn't feel scary. And it was so beautiful. And I was thinking about, like, after I had finished ceremony, I was thinking about, like, how can I share this with people? Like, how can I show people the impact that this ceremony had for my soul and for my spirit and my energy? And I was like, I don't think that I can. Like, I really don't think I can share with people how important this energy shift was for me. And so then we were goofing around. I had my husband take pictures of me, and he actually captured pictures of those spirits. And so let me just talk a little bit about the experience, what it was like to hold ceremony there. And then I'll talk about maybe a few practical tips for what you can do if you want to hold ceremony and space for yourself energetically. And so we got to the spring probably a little bit after lunchtime. It was pretty far from us. It's about an hour from where we're staying currently. And so it was a long drive, and we have all of our kids with us. So that's always fun to make long drives with kids. We started driving, and like 10 minutes into the drive, the kids are like, are we going to be there very soon? I'm like, we're not even halfway there, kids. So that was fun. But as soon as we got to the spring, we went and we were traveling down this like little path, and something just told me, like, get off the path right now and jump into the stream. And I was like, okay. I don't argue with intuition anymore. I used to when I was younger, but like, I don't argue. I'm just like, okay, I was told, I'm going to do it. So my husband left our bag with like bug spray and all that good stuff. I'm like, you have to go back and get that. I'm going to take the kids and we're going to jump in the spring. So we traveled down, we went off of the path, we trekked through some leaves and some mud, and we made our way to this beautiful area of the spring. And it was like a waterfall. The water was crystal clear. I've got pictures of it up on my Instagram. You should go follow me. But it was just so absolutely beautiful. And so we just sat and we played in the spring. My husband came back, and we probably played in the spring for about, I would say, 4 hours. And I didn't feel the need to hold ceremony at that time. I did bring a bag with all of my ceremonial items, like all of my ceremony tools. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later as well. So I did grab that. I grabbed my ceremony blanket. I did have my ceremony staff, which I also use as a walking staff when we go hiking. And so I was kind of in the spring with my staff, kind of maneuvering around these really slippery rocks And that was really fun. So we were just kind of sitting and really bathing in the spring. And that's something that I think is very important in ritual. I feel like a lot of people might leave that out in modern paganism and modern witchcraft and things like that. I think a lot of people don't remember to bathe and to cleanse themselves. And so that's my 2 cents. I don't feel like it's needed for everybody. Obviously, listen to your own intuition when you are doing ceremonies and playing with energy and things like that, of course. But I really feel like playing in the spring and just being was a very important part in kind of summoning all of that energy, all of that healing energy. I think that when you enter into a new space, it's also a really good idea to bring some sort of offering with you. And this goes for whether you're hiking or whether you do intend to do ceremony in a certain place. And so a lot of traditional offerings are things like tobacco, like I feel like a lot of spirits really appreciate tobacco, and I try to get tobacco, not cigarettes, but like actual nice organic tobacco, things that I would smoke if I was a smoker, and to give that back to the land, because tobacco is a very nourishing plant, and it does really, it is a very healing herb. And I think a lot of it's been demonized by big tobacco, but that's like a different conversation for a different day. I didn't have any tobacco with me, and I was struggling to find an offering. And when I opened up my ceremony stuff about 4 hours into us playing in the spring, I found white sage. And I know there's like a really big, there's a big discussion about white sage and how you shouldn't use it. This white sage was not something that I bought. It was actually a gift. So I did feel appropriately led to use the white sage in the ceremony. And that is what I ended up using as my offering to this spring. I strongly felt like there was indigenous presence, like spirits in that area, and I feel like they really liked the white sage. I don't typically use it in my ceremonies because it's not my practice, and it's not my culture, and it's not my people, and it's not my medicine. So the fact that I happened to have that there, and the fact that I felt so called to use it, and the fact that it was a gift, I ended up using the white sage for the ceremony. And so when I started the ceremony, I did some more cleansing. I've got like a rattle and some other things. I put myself into a very good intention and mindset. I started a little ceremony fire. I've got, guys, don't burn things outside if you are in a no burn area or if there's burn restrictions. And if you're going to burn things, please be very careful, especially outside. I keep a little like terracotta, like a flower pot with me. And that's honestly what I use to burn things with if I am doing ceremony outside. And that is a good way, a portable way to have a small fire and to also keep the environment safe. So I started a small ceremony fire in my little terracotta pot, and I put the sacred herbs on there, the white sage, and I was cleansing myself with the smoke, and I was sitting with the energies, and then I sat with my intention and with my energy to call in healing spirits. You guys who have followed me for some time or who are personal friends, you know that I've been through quite a lot, especially 2020. Like 2020 was a really rough year for me on my health, on my emotions, on my family. It was a lot. It was a lot of stuff that we couldn't control. And I know a lot of people went through a lot of things last year in 2020. I don't want to like complain too much or bring too much of the energy down in that direction. But basically, I came to the spring to do a healing ceremony to kind of to get rid of some of that stagnation that 2020 had left me with, and to call in healing spirits, and to ask for my body to be healed, and to ask for my mind to be healed, and to ask for my power to be restored to me, because illness does a lot of things to your energy. So I want to do this ceremony, you know, to bring in this restoration, this healing energy. So I was doing my thing. And when I am in a ceremony mindset, it's very much like a meditative state for me. And sometimes I feel like my body is physically present and my consciousness is somewhere else. So I was not super looking at the surroundings of everything that was going on. And you guys, I've been a really big practitioner of ceremony and rituals for a very long time. I want to say probably about 4 or 5 years now. And I can't bring myself to have people take pictures of me when I'm in ceremony. And I don't know why that is. I just feel like it's really disrespectful to the energies. I feel like it's really disrespectful to the spirits. And I feel like there's a possibility that your work will not work if you take pictures of it. I feel like anybody could see pictures of your work and of your ceremony and of your sacred energy, and they could manipulate it essentially. So I did not have my husband take pictures of me while we were doing the ceremony. Instead, I just had the kids playing, and he was kind of being present in his own way, and I was very present. And so what I didn't hear is, after I had started the specifically the cleansing portion of this ceremony and the calling in of the spirits portion of the ceremony, my husband noticed a swirling mist going against the wind and traveling around the stream, and it settled on a rock. I think it's a power space, but it settled on this rock that we were all sitting on in some of the pictures on Instagram. And at first he thought like maybe it was the smoke from my fire, but again, it was moving against the wind, and the smoke from my fire was moving a different direction. It was moving with the wind. And so my husband is not, I feel like he's like open, but he's not like a super spiritual person. So he was just kind of like, whatever, that's weird, but didn't say anything to me. And so I felt really great when I finished up the ceremony. I closed everything. I have a special way of closing the ceremonial fire after I'm finished a ceremony, and then I gave the rest of the sage, and I gave the rest of the ash and the embers from the fire to the spring. And that was my thanks and my gratitude. I've held on to that white sage probably for about 2 or 3 years now, and I couldn't find a use for it. But I feel really good about where I left it, and I feel really good about having had that as an offering. And so we finished. My energy felt really good. I didn't feel drained at all after holding that ceremony. And my husband still didn't say anything to me about the swirling mist. So we started walking out of the trail. We decided we were going to get a jump on going home because it is an hour away. And I saw this bridge, and it's that bridge in the pictures, you know, and I was like, I have never seen that bridge before. I swear to God. And my husband's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, we walked into this little trail and it's right next to the bridge, I swear. And I did not see the bridge. It was like the bridge didn't exist. And when I came back out, the bridge was like literally calling to me. Like it was the only thing I could see. It was the only thing I could think about. I was like, I have to go stand on that bridge. I have to go stand on the middle of that bridge. And Joseph, you have to take pictures. And he was like, okay, whatever. Like he doesn't question me anymore either. He's a really good sport. So I stood on the bridge. I walked towards the bridge first, and I did have my ceremony staff in my hands. And then I turn around and I stood there with my arms open. And so that was the first picture that you guys saw. And I'll pull that up again for you. Let's see. I have to figure out how to screen share. There we go. And so again, this is the first picture, right? So this was me standing with my arms open on the bridge with my ceremony staff. And here is that swirling spirit. And so it's not very apparent in this picture. And I looked at it and I thought, that's really interesting. But then when my husband took that second picture, and like I said, these pictures were taken right after each other, that swirling spirit, I changed the position of my feet, but that spirit had come closer to me. And so when I came home and I was reviewing all of the pictures and stuff from the ceremony, I could not stop crying. Like I looked at those pictures and I was like, wow, spirit was so strong and was so with us at that spring, that spirit manifested in those pictures. Spirit manifested to show me that the work that I did was appreciated, that the reason for holding ceremony, that would be honored. And also so that I could share that with other people, so that I could share with people to teach people that spirit is real. Like spirit is not just something you can feel. Spirit is not just something some people can interact with. Spirit is not just an abstract concept for shamans and for healers and for, intuitives and psychics and readers. Spirit is a real, tangible, abstract force that we can all interact with. And sometimes we can get it to manifest in our lives. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. I wanted to share the fact that the work that you do is important. All of the healing work you do is important, whether that's seeing a therapist, whether that is making a commitment to eat better and to move your body in ways that help, increase your strength and increase your awareness, or whether that's actually holding ceremony and doing magic stuff. And I felt like it was an important message to share. I wanted to share with you guys that you can manifest spirit in your life. Now, I don't think I'm a very popular spiritual teacher because I don't make videos and I don't sell classes and I don't write posts because I want people to give me money. I'm not really into that. I love when people give me money. I love when people support me. That's wonderful. But my life is not centered around making money. And so when I teach people about spirit, and when I teach people about ceremony, and when I teach people about energy, and when I give people readings, I don't ever try to make it so that I am this, part in their life that you need. Like, you don't need me. You don't need me to hold your own ceremonies. You don't need me to read your cards. You don't need me to facilitate any healing for you. You guys can do that on your own. And so I'm not a very popular spiritual teacher, because while I will teach you everything that I know, while I'm very open, I will never make you feel like you need me or like I am the key to your spiritual unlocking or leveling up or enlightenment, because I don't believe that. And that's simply not the truth. I think that connection to the spirit is key. And I think that once you have somebody who can teach you how to connect to spirit, you don't need a teacher and you don't need somebody to facilitate ceremonies for you. It's always good to seek help if you feel like you need help, but I will never, ever use any of my ideas, my gnosis, my ceremonies, my revelations, my whatever you want to call it, power, manifestation, energy. I won't use that to make people feel like they need me. And so it's not popular because we live in a capitalist world. And in our society, I feel like a lot of people pay attention to people who they pay money to, because our society is very focused on money and on currency. And so I don't want your money. I don't want anything from you. I just want you to know that you are capable of manifesting spirit in your own lives. And so now that we've kind of talked about that whole experience at the spring and all the swirling mist and the spirits that my husband saw and the spirits that we were able to capture on camera, I wanted to talk to you guys about holding space in ceremony for yourself. Okay. And I see you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for commenting. But if you guys who are watching have any specific questions about holding ceremony or holding healing circles for yourself, or about raising energy or calling in healing spirits, please leave those in the comments. If you comment later on the rewatch, I will get back to you in a comment. But if you can comment in real time, I'll try to get to your messages. But first of all, I wanted to talk about healing and ceremony because I feel like that's a block for a lot of people. A lot of people in Oklahoma, which is where my home base is, a lot of people in Oklahoma are religious, or they were raised religious, or they were raised around religion. And so religion, in my mind, is different than shamanism or animism or an energetic-based path, because religion happens in a church with a facilitator, with a pastor, with a priest, with a cardinal, with a bishop, with somebody who is better than you, essentially. And shamanism, animism, energy, paganism, magic, witchcraft happens in a spiritual setting of your choosing, a lot of times outdoors, but it is not facilitated by other people. While there are shamans and teachers and healers who can teach you how to facilitate, nobody is the gatekeeper for spirit. Anybody can access spirit and the spiritual teachings. And a lot of folks who are raised around organized belief systems have this kind of block or curtain where they feel like they can't hold ceremonies for themselves because they're so used to a priest holding ceremonies for them. They're so used to asking for permission. And so I want to teach everybody that I come into contact with that you don't need permission to hold ceremony for yourself. You don't need permission. Nobody is the ceremony keeper in your life except for you. And so I think that that's very important. So very first and foremost, I think that it's important to understand that you are capable of everything that I am capable of, and you're capable of anything that you see on the internet. If anybody makes wild claims and they're like, I did this thing and it helped me, you're capable of doing that too, because you have direct access, connection to spirit. The only thing that teaches us that we have separation from spirit is your ego and is lies. Okay. And so I really think that religion lies to a lot of folks and tells them that they need some sort of mediator to deal with spirit, that they are not worthy to deal with spirit. And so I want to let you know, whether you believe me or not, you are capable of manifesting spirit and of interacting with spirit without me or without any other teacher. That's number one. And so moving forward, if you want to set up a ceremony for yourself, I think it's very important to have a goal in mind. What you do during the ceremony, it's not important. What words you say during the ceremony, it's not important. But what is important is that you start to get your energy right. And the best way to do that is by having a goal, by having a clear set of direction or intention for what you're going to be doing with that ceremony. And so for me, when I went to the spring, my goal was to call in healing spirits, to call in healing energies, and to restore myself and my family. Okay. And so that was my goal. And then after you have a really set goal, whether that's I want to make more money, I want to buy a bigger house, I want to get a new job, I want to heal myself, I want to open up my third eye, I want to have a better intuition, I want to heal the land spirits. That's a really good one. Maybe you hold ceremony just to heal the land, because our land is so polluted and disconnected. So maybe you do that. But anyways, have a very good goal for your ceremony. And then the second thing I think that is very important is to have an offering. Have something that you can offer the spirits. And we talked about this earlier in the video, but you could have something like tobacco. Tobacco is a very good traditional offering. For this particular ceremony, I used white sage. You can use anything. You can make a meal and use that as an offering and leave it out. Some people use alcohol or water as offerings. Some people use candy. Some people use coffee. Like, you can literally use anything. But I would say use whatever is appropriate, whatever your intuition tells you to use, and make sure that you have that offering. And if for whatever reason you can't come up with a physical offering, make sure to at least offer your gratitude at the closing of the ceremony. And so what I mean by that is, when you are holding ceremony for yourself, it's no joke. You're interacting with real energies here. And it's important that you show your gratitude to these energies, or you might not get help again in the future. When you work with spirit or with spirits, it's just like developing a friendship or any other kind of relationship. And if you don't have gratitude for those spirits, like I said, maybe they won't manifest for you in the same way again later, or maybe they will not work with you in the future. So the best way to solidify a good relationship with spirit is to be honoring and to offer things. And like I said, there's many different things that you can do. And so once you have your goal in mind, once you've figured out an offering or a way to close and give gratitude for your ceremony, you should also start thinking about different tools. Those of you who are in my private Facebook group, I did a video a while back about my ceremony basket. And so I've got this picnic basket that I use, and it carries all of my ceremonial tools. So I've got rattles, I've got candles, I've got herbs in there, I've got essential oils, I've got different blends that I've made for myself, I've got ceremony bells, I've got incense. I mean, I've got pretty much anything that you could think of that you might need for a ceremony. I've got it in there. I even have ceremonial dancing gear. Like, I have these shimmy skirts and stuff in there. I used to have a little drum, but I took it out. But I have a lot in my ceremony basket. So I feel like, especially if going to a remote location to hold ceremony, you should have some way to carry your tools with you. So whether that's a picnic basket or a special bag or something like that, but make sure that you have all the tools necessary, because once you get on location or once you get in the energy of ritual or ceremony, you're not going to be able to break away to go find extra things. And I think the most important ceremony tools that you own are your hands, right? Your hands are very important. They're very powerful. I feel like your hands are actually portals of energy. And so your hands are very good at manipulating energy. And sometimes that's the only thing that you need for ceremony. So if you are just starting out with intention-based practice or earth-based practice, don't like go all out and buy all these tools that you might not need. You probably have bells and things around the house. If not, you can find bells at the thrift store. In terms of rattles, you can make your own with a gourd or with the different vegetables or with things that you find out in nature. I do want to caution you, though, if you are getting into ceremony work and you're getting into more intentional earth-based lifestyle, do not buy your tools on Amazon. That's something I feel very strongly about. I feel like the energy that you procure with your tools and with your items is also very important. So make sure you gather those with intention. Either you make them yourself or you buy them from some sort of indigenous artisan, somebody who's been making them in their family for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. So be very honoring in how you procure your tools, and make sure that they are made by an indigenous person or made from the hands of somebody who you trust, if they're not made from your own hands, because that's very important. And then the next thing that's important is getting your energy right. And so, like I mentioned with this particular episode at the springs, we sat and bathed in the clear waters of the springs for probably about 4 hours. And that was a really good way for me to get rid of any negative energy that I didn't want attached to me. It was a good way to purify my body. All the minerals made my skin feel really nice, and the minerals of the spring helped my joints feel good. So overall, after being in that spring for 4 hours, I felt like my energy was finally in a very good place to hold ceremony. So if you are setting up a ceremony, if you have this idea that you want to hold ceremony for yourself, and the day comes that you were planning and you feel terrible, you have a cold, you're sick, the weather is bad, you have any level of apprehension, there's no rule that says you have to hold that ceremony right now today. Like, you can hold that ceremony sometime in the future. So if you don't have your energy right or straight, or you're not feeling well, don't hold ceremony. It's as simple as waiting. Spirit will always wait for you, and there's no time where you have to be pressed and you have to do ceremony right now, at this moment, at this time, at this daylight, at this position of the sun. Just do the ceremony when you feel intuitively led and when you feel well. I think that's very important. And the next thing that's important to talk about is your space. And so you have to set up a good space. Like I said, I can't bring myself to do ceremony in front of a camera. Like, I can't do these ritual practices and these healing practices with a camera on me for whatever reason. I feel like it's dishonoring to the spirit. And so that's important to me. I don't want people to take pictures of me while I'm working or while I'm in ceremony. So if you have to set those certain boundaries for yourself and for your practice, make sure that they are set, make sure that you follow them. But also in terms of energy and space, I set wards up mentally. Either I walk around the area where I will be holding ceremony, or I extend my presence and my energy from the point where I'm sitting all the way out, like a bubble. Like, I make my bubble really big. Like, nobody's allowed to come in this bubble except for the people in this ceremony. And I've done this multiple times with outdoor ceremonies. If you like to go to state parks and things like that, places that are beautiful, places that are pretty undisturbed and untouched, a lot of times there are other humans that are there in these state parks and in these lovely places. And so if the energy is right, you will be able to clear even the most crowded park, and mountains will move. Everything will move, and everybody will dissipate, and there will be nobody around you for your ceremony. You'll be very private. And so that's another thing that I think is very important, is the space that you set up for your ceremony. So make sure that you're out of the way. Nobody's going to disturb you. If it's possible that somebody could disturb you, maybe you could have another strong presence. Like, I usually have my husband with me or something like that, and he doesn't really participate in the ceremonies, but usually does stand a ways off. And nobody's going to come through and disturb me if he's over there, because he's this big, scary guy. So it's important to have somebody with you who is going to drum for you, or who is going to hold the space and protect you as well. Not that anybody would be mean or untowards, but you don't know what other people's intentions are. You don't know if maybe they would take a picture of you, or if they would mean you any negativity or negative energy or disruptive energy. And so I think it's important to have somebody with you who will hold that space for you. And then the last thing that is so important is your intention. And I think this goes directly with your goal. But while you are performing ceremony, you should not be thinking about anything else except for your goal or your intention. And if other things crop up, it's best to either write them down right in the moment, or to let them leave your mind. And if they come up later and you can remember them later, that's good. Sometimes when you're doing intention and ceremony and things like that, your intuition is very open, and it's easy for spirit to communicate with you, essentially. And so that might happen. Be prepared for that when you're holding space and ceremony for yourself. But I think that your intention is the most important thing. And if you are capable of holding an intention for whatever the duration is of how long you need to do that ceremony for, you're capable of holding ceremony for yourself, and you're capable of doing really great things. And so that's all I had to share with you guys today. I really appreciate you all joining me for this live stream, and please share it with your friends if you have people who are interested in holding ceremony for themselves, or if you have people who are interested in getting into a more earth-based path towards spirituality and freedom. Thank you guys so much, and be sure to check out my Patreon if you're interested in getting daily divinations from me. And also make sure to like, subscribe, follow the page, because I will be going live on Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time to give you guys free intuitive messages. Thanks again, friends, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.